Right. Welcome to Unveiling the Disconnect. I'm very happy. I decided to start this video presentation or this webinar just because I've been more and more aware of staff not being engaged, staff not being motivated in doing their job. And that's becoming an increasingly hard problem for business owners or executives. And I'm sure that you're listening to this and you go like, oh yeah, I can think of somebody, or I can think of another person, or yes, I've seen this happen somewhere. And it's an issue. Okay. It's an issue. Staff being disengaged, feeling disconnected is an issue. Okay. Now, you can go, well, that's the way things are, and we'll just put up with it, and then that's it, right? This is human nature or what have you. However, I tend to disagree. Okay. I don't think that this is human nature to be disengaged. I think that it's human nature to want to contribute, to want to help. And I think that each one of us as a person inside of us have that need to contribute, to help, to do something that is worthwhile. Okay. Yeah, okay. For some some people, you have to look deep and actually dig deep to find out that that desire to help or contribute. But it is there. And really, why is it why is it that you'd have to dig so deep to find out that motivation to contribute, to help, to do something worthwhile? Why is it that this gets, submerged, so it's not there anymore? Okay. Now, we talk about disengagement. We talk about staff being disengaged, staff being disconnected. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means at the workplace that, your staff that are not enthusiastic, they're, basically dragging their feet, like basically they check in, check out, they go through the motion, and then that's it. That's all you have, right? And what does that leave you as the executive? It means you're the one that has to drive this forward. It means any forward motion will be because you've pushed. Now you're listening to this and you're probably going like, yeah, I don't like it. Well, I can't blame you. Nobody likes that, right? You want to have a team behind you that pushes forward. Staff disengagement is something that needs to be handled quickly if it happens in your business, because like a cancer, it will spread, right? And this is something that you really need to deal with rapidly. It has a cause. It's not like all of a sudden the staff come in and they feel disengaged. Something is creating this. And this is why that series of videos that I'm doing is, that's why I put that series of video, is to explore those factors of disengagement. I want to unveil the disconnect. Okay. I want to give you tools so you can understand what disengages the staff and what you can do about it to get them to re-engage again. Okay. Um, you need to do it. You need to know this, and it's part of leadership. It's part of your job as a business owner, as a leader, to see to it that your staff are motivated, right? If you are leaving it to your staff and that has nothing to do with me, it's up to them to be motivated, then you have a problem. Okay. And the problem is like now all the motivation, the engagement, is, you expect the staff to do it themselves? Well, it's a leadership problem at this point. Okay. So the first barrier is you have to first yourself realize that you are the person that leads that group. You are the person that drives the engagement, the motivation. Okay. You also have to understand that if you don't have the tools to recognize, number one, what is disengagement, and number two, how to solve it, then you will have lots of difficulty leading and being a good manager. And you'll find that lots of good leaders in this world are people that can enthuse. their staff. They can get them, going. They can motivate them, right? Now it's easy to get people going, to keep them going day in and day out, and to continuously lead them and motivate them so they can have a high level of engagement. Now, that's where the mastery comes, right? And the mastery comes because you know how to use your tools and you understand what creates this engagement, what engages people, and you know what to do to keep it going, right? To get out of the way the things that would disengage your staff, right? Now, okay, so we talk about disengagement, demotivation. How do you see this manifesting in your staff on at work? Well, number one is you'd have decreased productivity, right? Uh, Staff won't be so enthusiastic. They come to work and they're bored, or there's not lots of smiley face, you know, and it doesn't seem like a happening place, right? High level of absenteeism, that's number three, right? You'd have people not showing up for their job, or they're coming late, or they take over long on their break, right? I'm sure this never happened to you anywhere in your life, right? So these are very, very important. You need to know these things. Minimal participation. Okay. You have a project to do or something needs to be done. And say, okay, who wants to come in for that? And then you hear crickets. And you have basically ask people, you feel you have to almost like plead and ask them to do something that is not particularly their job, right? That is another sign that your staff is demotivated. Increased complaints from your staff, from the patients, from the clients. And that would also be a big sign. Again, low morale, unhappiness, disengagement. It's an attitude. I'm sure you agree with me on that, right? And it transfers over to other people. So if I'm a reception, or if I deal with public, if I'm an IT help desk, right, or have you, and I don't have my game face on, right? Don't really want to be there. I don't have my heart in it for some reason, which we'll look at the cause of these things in a little bit. Then I will I will talk with, or I will communicate with the clients or with the patients or whoever is that is, using your services or your product. Well, that attitude will communicate to them. Now, my lack of enthusiasm will transfer over to that client's lack of enthusiasm. Then that client will not be enthusiastic and might get a complaint, might start finding a whole bunch of things wrong with whatever your product was or your service was, well, before it was fine, right? Again, it's the attitude that gets communicated. So that's a big one for a symptom of disengagement. If you have poor communication in your team, that again, people are not relaying communication, or things are relayed wrongly. All of these things are another symptoms of disengagement or lack of motivation. Okay, low morale. People again, they're not happy. The dark clouds all over the place, right? And it doesn't have to be the whole staff. It can be just one or two, and they're like that dark cloud. Nobody wants to talk to them because there's such a downer, right? And at this point now, that's just breaks the whole team, right? It just collapses the organization. So it's very, very important to be able to recognize these symptoms so you can do something about it, right? Unfortunately, when you look at the staff, you tend to generalize. You can say, oh, my staff is not engaged, right? And at this point, you need to be very, very careful about this because it's not true. Disengagement, demotivation is coming maybe from one or two staff. And it spreads, like I said earlier, like a disease. And you got to isolate who it is that is disengaged, and then deal with that person. Okay. I've done, I made a checklist. It's called the Employee Engagement Level Checklist. And that checklist is designed to do just that. Again, it's hard to handle a generality. Actually, it's impossible. You can't handle a generality. You know, somebody that tells you, well, the staff are disengaged. Oh, that's great. Staff are what are you going to do with this? Well, you know, you can't do anything with this. Well, you're going to fire the whole staff and hire a whole bunch of new ones. Yeah, that's good luck. No, that's the wrong thing to do, right? Now, you got to isolate who is this coming from? Who has that dark cloud? And you might say, it's this guy, right? And then you find out that, you know, you address that guy, but that's not him. It's somebody else, right? And you got to be really objective about it, right? And it is very, very important to keep an objective mind on these so you do not target the wrong person. This is why I made a checklist. So you can zero in on the one or two people on your staff that will have a disengaged attitude, right? Now, what do you do with that guy, right? Do you try to make him happy by giving him a raise, or like let me put you somewhere else where you can be a little bit better? Or do you fire him? Like that's the other end of the spectrum, right? Well, I'm not into firing people, not if they don't really belong in the team, right? But the thing is, you need to start with the communication, right? You need to sit down with that person or have one of your executive or the lead for that person sit down with that individual and find out what's going on, right? There are six factors that would disengage a staff member, right? In general, well, they probably are more, but I find that if you go over these six factors, you probably will get the right one. Okay, and we'll cover that over this week, not this week, but during this series of webinars that I'm holding, these talks, to go over each one of those six. Okay, and I'm just gonna tell them really briefly what these are really quickly for you guys so you know what it is. The first one is misunderstood expectations, right? The other one is misunderstood communication, misunderstood orders, misunderstood policies or contrary policies. Then you've got lack of communications, right? Or improperly relayed communications. Then the other one is failures or stops that was encountered on their post, right? If you encounter too many stops, you start just seeing stops as a person, and that just really messes up with your mindset. Okay, and you need to. There's a way that you can get the person off of looking at just stops and actually start seeing the possibilities instead of just the can't, right? And sixth one is toxic personalities, rumors, uh, negative people, things like that, right? We'll cover each one of those in a separate talk, okay? But what I really want to go over today and what I would like you to do is to download that checklist and the little document that tells you how to do it. And I'd like you to try, I'm inviting you to try it on a couple of your staff. Just use it. Yeah? Just download this. There's going to be a link at the bottom of this here. Just download the checklist, download the how to, make sure you read it nicely, and then you will see that you will see that you have a pretty good idea of the level of engagement that your staff have, right? And that will zero in on who do you need to talk to bring them up, or if they won't come up, then you're gonna have to figure out how to move them off your lines. Okay, you cannot operate a business with people that will not engage. I like to tell you, yeah, you do great with people that are not engaged on your staff. That's the way to go, right? Uh, that would be crazy. And I'm not going to tell you that. Uh, you cannot achieve expansion, achieve stability. Now, mark my word, this is so important. You cannot achieve expansion, stability, growth with people that will not put their shoulders to the wheel. Period. It just doesn't make any sense. These individuals end up soaking up so much energy, so much efforts that it diverts all the effort that you should make to get your business to go forward, right? And it concentrates on these guys because you have to keep pushing them forward, and they generate more malcontent, more frustration than you now have to handle, and it get that crazy run around. And at this point, at the end of the 6 month mark after the year, right? We're past the 6 month mark. You know, uh, you look at your year and you haven't made any progress. And you go like, why? Well, you've been pushing against people that do not want to move ahead, that have no drive, right? It's extremely tiring and it gets old very, very fast, right? So do not do this to yourself. Number one, do the steps to handle the person. We'll try to reestablish that motivation. If the person won't cooperate or do anything, then the person doesn't belong in your team. That's it, right? I don't have any axe to grind against people that are not motivated, except that, if you don't want to participate, be an active member of a team. Just don't be in the team. You're just hindering everybody, and you just increasing the chances to lose, right? And this is not right. That's not right. Look, you put lots of efforts, lots of time, effort, money into growing your business. You deserve people that push the same way as you do. Okay. And this is why I'm making this talk, unveiling the disconnect. This is a bit of an introductory talk, right? Because I really want to make my point. You cannot grow a business if you have unmotivated and disengaged employees. It won't work. It won't work. So at this point, what you have to do is, isolate that person, do the proper handling, and we'll go over these in the next future webinars and these talks. And if the person won't go, then there's a series of procedures, a process that you go through to, move the person off your lines and get somebody else that is excited, that does want to go, right? And on top of this, I will add, you yourself have to provide your team with proper guidance, with proper leadership, with exciting goals, with enthusiasm, because that is communicable as well, right? And a goal, and believe in them that they can make it. Stop fuel on this, right? And if you do this, if you express good leadership to your staff, good staff that would normally engage will. And at this point, you get an alignment of vectors and things move forward, right? So here's my thing to you to today. I mean, again, we're getting close to the end of that little talk. What I want to do right now, I want to invite you to download that checklist and use it. If you have any questions, just contact me, phil@rpmc.solutions. That's my email. Contact me or text me at 416-559-9063. I'd be more than happy to go over this with you and to discuss any situation you may have as well. I'm here to help, right? I've been doing this for many, many years, over 30 years now, and there's nothing more satisfying than building a team that really works well together, that really pushes in the same direction, you know. And I I want this for you. I want you to have one of those. So, there's a way to do it, and it doesn't happen by luck. It happens by competently um, competently executed know-how. okay? And let's work together on this, okay? Download the checklist, go over a few of them yourself, contact me if you need any help, and attend my next week, my next talk on this, which will go in detail over the first factor of disengagement. We're going to unveil the disconnect so we can actually understand it. Once you understand, you can do something about it. Okay. So thank you very much for attending this talk. It was a pleasure being with you today. And I'm looking forward to meet with you on the next talk about unveiling the disconnect. Thank you so much.